Welcome into Football Friday Night proper, and tonight is one of those rare times where the sequel might actually be better than the original, because not only do we have the highlights from yesterday's games, but we also have the biggest and best moments from a rain-soaked night tonight. I mean, you need one every year to really make it feel like football season, don't you? Well, you served your time out there watching it live in the cold, so now it's time for you to bundle up, get warm, and enjoy the recap ride. Let's start with a little 5A West action. Alma at Clarksville, and I'm sure you've heard of dogs having their day. Well, these dogs had a night. Alma leading 21-0 at the half. 2 plays back into action, and Brooks Belcher has a big one. Then a few plays later, round the right side, it's, wait a minute, no! This is Beyonce style. To the left. Everyone, including the cameraman, gets fooled. It's 28-0 Alma. And speaking of the cameraman, before he could even cross the field, Alma got the ball back, and forget the clouds. Chase Parker is making it rain. Drops it in to Samuel Schlegel for another touchdown, as the dogs' bite is worse than their bark. They dropped 40 on this Friday. 40-0, the final score. Now, the top team in the 4A1, Gravette, took on Prairie Grove. Lions and Tigers, what will it bear? Oh my, let's find out. Opening kickoff, and you should know the special teams rule by now. Great or mistake? This one, mistake, and now we got a Wolf involved in things. Logan Wolf, hungry like gets the recovery, and a few plays later, J.D. Beam from the Wild Lion powers it in for a 7-0 lead. Prairie Grove now looking to answer. A Rolling Stone gathers no moss, but a rolling Isaac Moss with the rock gathers some yards. However, the Tigers unable to get points, so Gravette back to work. And J.D. Beam must have visited Can Do Hardware before the game, because he brings the hammer here. Beam replacing the E's with O's, drops the boom. That was some Madden 06 truck stick action right there, as Gravette goes on to win tonight in a close one, 17-6, staying undefeated as they head into next week's game against Elkins. And speaking of the Elks, they hosted Green Forest tonight. First quarter, Connor Ham, carry, touchdown. And have no fear, if you happen to miss that one or blinked, he's going to do it again. Counter play, he finds the lane, and technically, I mean, there is an S on his chest as he leaps defenders in a single bound for the touchdown, and he might very well be Superman. If it ain't broke, keep going, Ham. There he goes again, but this time, miraculously, doesn't find the end zone. You know, just your average, everyday big gain into the red zone, before he would then find the end zone. I'm pretty sure that anybody associated with Green Forest will be ordering bacon as a side for the foreseeable future after what Ham did to him tonight. This one, all Elkins fear the bugle. They win it big, 42-7, setting up a massive showdown with Gravette next Friday night. And with that, we reach our first break. When we get back, we'll open up the time capsule from yesterday and catch up on anything you might have missed. Then get right back into 2 of the biggest games in 5 country tonight. But first, I'm going to show you more scores from around the area. Welcome back to Football Friday Night and our 2-day event, the Get One Free of the Buy One, Get One deal we had for you this week, thanks to the weather. Now, before we continue to look at tonight's games, let's jump in the Wayback Machine and travel to last night, as we had several big ones played to try and avoid the weather and make sure they got their games in. Let's start in 7A. Fayetteville at Springdale, both teams looking to bounce back from a bad loss last week. Red Dogs down 2 scores coming out of the half, but getting some help, some haterade. Carson Hater, the big gain right there. However, can't capitalize. Fayetteville playing with the caps lock on, though. Hank Hendricks going to be putting some RPMs on this thing, and he connects the dot to Charles Whitlow to set the O up inside the 10. And from there, Hendricks going to keep it out the backside and putting the defenders in a purple haze because they missed, and he is in to extend that lead. Springdale unable to answer on their next drive. So it's back to Purple Rain, and out of the swinging gate formation is Hendricks sneaking out the back door, and he says, all y'all along the watchtower, watch this. He's in again as Fayetteville gets a big win, 52-28. Now across town, Shiloh Christian still with a slim shot at the 6A West title, but they had to take care of business last night against Siloam Springs. Saints up 22-0 in the first, and the Saints recovering a muffed kickoff in Panthers territory, setting up Griffin Mason to punch it in. Siloam Springs does not respond. So Shiloh getting the ball back again. This time they're going to try things through the air. Cole Creighton drops back and absolutely rips one to a wide open Zane Slider in the end zone. Great pass, great catch. Saints all gas, no break. As evidence here, they're just going to go ahead and punch another one in with less than 5 minutes to go in the half, as the Saints victorious in a big way, 59-0, marching in to a big win. Okay, back to the future now. Tonight, a battle between two unbeatens in 4A West Conference play, Dardanelle at Ozark. And on the first play, the Hillbillies fumble, but they learned their lesson right quick. Defense gets a stop, and hold on to my ball, Petey. Ball security and some good blocking. John Skolarski living on the edge, and fire that shotgun. Hillbillies score. Then, not trusting a wet ball, they go for two, and they get it 8-0. The Purple defense would then do their thing again. So like a Monday, the offense is back to work, but on 4th and 10, they break out the trick, but the only treat is for the defense. They pick it off, and I think you know where this is going. The end zone is a pick six for the opponent, and as expected, this one a great one. It came right down to the end, but it was Dardanelle that came away with the win, barely though, 31-28 to take the top spot in conference play. And this one, maybe the biggest game of the night. Undefeated Mansfield at Boonville, who is unbeaten in conference play. A couple lightning delays pushed this one back. But once it got going, Cass Dupree starting things off with a solid kickoff return. And folks, if you didn't know, this was a Boonville Bearcat weather type of night. Hunter Warren churning up the yards through the muck and the mud. This man going Mike Rowe style because he don't mind doing a little bit of dirty job, especially when he gets paid, but forget paid dirt. It was so rainy tonight, it's pay mud. 1 yard touchdown in the PAT is going to make it 7-0 for the Bearcats. So Mansfield's going to get the ball now. Their turn to answer. Can they? Well, their four-wheel drive system is named Andrew Burton. He's running with some momentum and a grudge. Well, as for who emerged victorious from this heavyweight slobber knocker of a game, it is Mansfield. They stay unbeaten, 16-14, the final in this one. And with that, we are at break 2. We are done with the games tonight, so we are going to do a full recap of yesterday's action when we get back after the break. But first, you know what it is, more scores from around the area. Well, as you heard, Football Friday night is back, but we have gone through all of the games from this evening, so we're going to jump back and look at what transpired yesterday because there were some great ones that you just have to see. Plus, you can never have too much football on a Friday night, am I right? So let's get right back into it. A good old-fashioned dogfight to be the top dog in the 6A West yesterday. Van Buren and Greenwood, both unbeaten in conference play. Greenwood starting off the second quarter strong. Cooper Bland makes the catch, and Bland with some seasoning on the shake and bake. He could go all the, well, you know the rest of this. And it is 23-3, just like that, Bulldogs. However, they ain't in the kennel just yet. Kane Archer rolling right, and Champ Davis is all by himself, so much so that he's got his own area code, 642. And somebody needs to give their band a pay raise for the amount of work they were putting in, because no sooner had they finished the fight song, it was time to play it again, because here goes Kane Archer. This play, pure cane sugar, because it is sweet. He takes it in, and the final of this one was Greenwood 56-3. Bulldogs at the summit of the 6A West standings. To the south we go now. Morrilton and Farmington both one game back in the 5A West standings and trying to stay alive for a conference crown. Cardinals get the ball to start. How about this for a card? Aiden Lester deals a straight diamond to Brady Richards, but how about a pair of good throws? This, folks, the trust fall of football. The 50-50 ball, Lester believing in Dawson Keaton, and he shouldn't stop. That catch, good in the pros, 2 feet down. Farmington up 7-0. Morrilton's turn now. Maddox Berry slinging it out to Dante Cox, who makes a man miss, and then he rumbles, bumbles, and stumbles his way into the red zone where Farmington would bow up and force the Dogs into a 4th and 3-inch line, but it's Berry to Jamarcus Sandage to tie it at 7-0. And this was a close one, but the Cards hang on to win it by a point, 28-27. And finally, this one would have served as our game of the week, a battle atop the 7A standings. Undefeated Rogers hosting undefeated Bentonville. The winner likely to be the 7A West champ when the regular season ends. Tigers pulling out the trick plays early in the big game. The Mounties 45-yard line. DeQuayne Prevost gets it to Cole Slepecki, and he'll find Conrad Schmitz in the end zone. Everybody's just touching the ball on that play. So Rogers now needing to respond in their own territory. Second down, Jeff Regan rolling out. Finds a hole, gets a little something extra to get the first down, and works their way down to the 1-yard line to the Mounties. But the Tigers defense, how about that? Getting the stop. That's why you never stop fighting. They push him back and get the ball. Bentonville can't do anything with it, though, so Rogers gets it again and going for it on 4th down. Regan trying to find Braxton Lindsay, but it is incomplete, and this one turned out to be a great one. Bentonville had the lead. Rogers came back late in the 4th quarter, regained it. Then the Tigers went back down and scored on their own. Rogers then had the ball with 4 seconds left, 1st and goal, and the pass would fall incomplete. Time would expire, and that would be it as Bentonville takes the win 31-28 to remain undefeated in 2025. Okay, back to tonight, in case you missed the start of the show, 5A West action, Alma and Clarksville. And I'm sure you've heard of Dogs having their day. Well, these Dogs had a night. Alma leading 21-0 at the half. 2 plays back into action, and Brooks Belcher has a big play. Then a few plays later, around the right side, it's going to be, wait a minute, no, this is Beyonce style, to the left, Everyone, including the cameraman, gets fooled. It's 28-0 Alma. Speaking of cameramen, before he could even cross the field, Alma got the ball back, and then forget the clouds. Chase Parker making it rain, drops it to Samuel Schlegel for another touchdown. As the Dogs' bite is worse than their bark. They dropped 40 on this Friday, 40-0, the final score. And with that, my time is just about out. Football Friday night at its end, but I hope to see you back here next week live for another fantastic Football Friday night.